right, guys. Good morning, and how is it going?
Crabby. It's morning. Sorry, I got to play to my character. Sorry, man. It's a wonderful Tennessee morning out here. Gray. We have a wonderful show for you today.
Fantastic. I'm a morning person, so I'm the exact opposite.
I don't know how you do it. I'm a night owl. Oh man, oh man, oh man. So where are you from anyway?
Down here in Central Florida, very hot Central Florida right now.
Ooh, man. My condolences. I'm sorry. That's the humid and more heat. Great, more water and heat.
All right, gentlemen, are you ready to go live? We'll do that in 3, 2, and 1.
Well, hello and welcome to Station42, your weekly content and community-focused StarCitizen talk show. Today's show is hosted by the one and only Traz Dice Failure Ion. Say hello, Traz.
Hey, guys, what's up? This is me.
Oh boy, and yours, the infamously smooth Vadron Melly.
I always prefer questionably smooth, but whatever.
You're so rigid.
I
Anyway,
know. Well, all right. Well, let's not forget today's in-fiction sponsor. Take it away, Vadron.
Iron Grip tractor beams. If you are ever in a hurry to pick up and haul ass and head home, Iron Grip has your back. Our conical beam grabs an area of material instead of those other beams that grab one piece at a time, and we know your time is important to you. When you choose us, know that you're picking one of the most time efficient products on the market, not responsible for accidental explosions due to undeployed ordnance, and please pre scan before deploying beam.
Our broadcast is supported by the StarCitizen Facebook community, also known as Ready Player One, the StarCitizen subreddit, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all those crazy, amazing content creators, and of course, the amazing people at CIG who keep our community alive and thriving.
Today, I'd like to introduce a special guest, Gray Headed Gamer. Many people, some people on YouTube might know him, or Facebook might know him as Rick, but other than that, Gray's been a long-standing member of the community. A excellent content creator, renowned for his many YouTube videos, digging into ship sizes, comparisons. I always love the Star Citizen Island, with a special love for all things cargo. And he's been a backer since 2013, and he's trimming his fleet down for pure starters for day one. Currently, the flying for the Galactic Haulers Guild. And Gray,
Conveniently, that's GHG. So just so in case you forget, Gray-headed gamer, GHG.
yeah, I see that one. How's your morning,
smooth.
Gray?
Going great. And there's actually a really funny story behind the Galactic Callers Guild.
Yes, tell us.
It was actually a late night drinking session with my buddy Sir Thorfinn.
What?
And,
That doesn't happen.
right? And he said, "Hey, we should make a guild." And we were just joking. And he said, "What about the Galactic Callers Guild?" And he laughed. Get it, GHG. And that night I made it.
Yeah, that's brilliant. It really is. I mean, and the funny thing is when you're making an org, you want it to have that kind of the identity and branding yeah, it makes sense.
Well,
right on.
Plus,
also,
it's a
it's
throwback
fun.
to the whole idea of like guild in from Dune, because you had the guild was the mode of transportation.
Spice Guild.
Yep.
Yeah,
The spice.
Oh,
The
boy,
spice
here we
must
go.
flow.
That's right.
He who controls spies controls Dune, or is it vice versa?
Arrakis. Yes, well. All right, well, so this week, rather than digging straight into topics like I usually like to do, we're going to, and there are so many things to talk about this week, we're going to mix things up a bit and plunge our guest into the crucible of questionable questioning first. Man, I totally stumbled over my own alliteration. Anyway, with general Star Citizen content discussion following our interview. So, Ricky, are you down for such? Oh, sorry about that. Gray.
I am absolutely down.
All right, so 50 Shades of Grey, here we go. Most
Wow.
every active citizen has seen your YouTube content. Do you foresee yourself taking the plunge from content creator to streaming, or did that come from a public encouragement? Like, what got you into streaming, not just doing the content?
Public interaction. I really like to interact with the community, and with YouTube, I would answer every single comment, and I did that for a year solid. And
Nice.
I wanted some more back and forth banter, and I watched WTF and Twerk a
Yep.
lot.
Yep.
So, little guy named Underscore, who might be working for CIG now, he jumped on with me, helped me set everything up, and the rest is history. I'm actually now more on Twitch than I am YouTube.
Wow, nice. Yeah, you know, and the thing, and that's really awesome that you had somebody to mentor you because, oh my gosh, like I just recently took over the technical back end for OBS, and luckily our our lead tech from before his schedule changed, so he's still a part of our team. He's just not able to actively work with us at this point. Um, he took some time to spend with me, but it was like one of those things where like it was like 20 minutes before work and we were just crushed. So I spent like a whole day doing YouTube videos of how to, and man, OBS and streaming is no joke.
It's a bear when you first start, no doubt about it. Getting all your settings right and getting everything to work together, it is definitely a bear. I could not have got going as quick as I did without having some of these guys that are, I would consider pro, helping me out.
Oh yeah, no, their streams like I they're just amazing. So that's awesome.
On a different end of difficulty, how challenging was it working with CryEngine to show some of these ships on the Star Citizen Island and getting the SC assets to play good for you? How what kind of difficulties, unforeseen problems did you encounter?
Well, at first it wasn't that bad. Fiendish Feather had a beautiful write up on the RSI forums on how to get the assets in, and the rest was up to your creative ability. I created an entire cityscape, and it wasn't that hard. It was basically like a high fidelity Minecraft sort of.
Nice.
But now that CIG has changed the assets and how they're structured so much, it is literally impossible to get all the new assets into our version of CryEngine because they're so different from what CIG uses. So now, like even with bulkheads that Phoenix Feather's doing,
Right. Right.
he's using pre 1.2 assets. So he doesn't have any of the new stuff. He has to kind of fake everything he wants to do with older assets, and it's the evolution of the game. They can't dumb it down for us because we do have a dumbed down CryEngine. Their CryEngine is so much more advanced than ours because
Right.
they own the rights. They've changed the code. They've changed the way it works with 64-bit and all that. So unfortunately now that's why I haven't done much CryEngine here lately is the new CryEngine 5 came out and I did get some holotable models in, but other than that, it is straight just CryEngine assets.
Yeah. I actually picked up
Yeesh.
the I think it was Humble bundle was selling CryEngine and a whole bunch of assets and whatnot for
Yeah.
like some sweet little deal, and I bought it. I still haven't downloaded it to start messing with it, but it's on my list of things to play with.
That Humble bundle, they're all 3D models that you have to put into something like Maya and then transfer it to a CryEngine file and then import it. The
Good to
only ones
know.
that actually work in that pack is the Rome packs,
Okay.
and they're basically like Stone Age kind of like medieval type assets. But everything else in there is just 3D models.
Wow. Well, that'll be interesting. Either way, it'll be a project. I mean, I like taking on stuff like that and learning new things. I mean, that was definitely the most fun aspect of taking over the OBS and the back end of our tech is just playing with getting it set up, customizing the layout and all that good stuff. So, which by the way, when we air this on Wednesday, everybody will get to see the new finagled Station 42 overlay. Hopefully, it'll impress.
Very nice. I can't wait to see it.
Or at least it might keep a few people from running away from us. There you go.
Right. So with your work in CryEngine, did Star Citizen inspire you to jump into CryEngine and start messing around, or did you already come with like previous like engine experience?
Well, before CryEngine, my son and I played with Blender and a couple others just for
Nice.
fun, and I did a lot of Photoshop work before for my job.
Okay,
So
nice.
I had like a slight bit of knowledge of working in a program like that, but not with CryEngine. But it did come very natural, and with the help of Teller and Fiendish Feather, I got into it pretty quickly. But it's not an easy program to work with, but Star Citizen definitely pushed me in that direction.
I can
Yeah.
see it being a good motivator. I mean, yeah.
The main motivation was I couldn't afford the ships. I wanted to be able to walk around them. So the best way for me to do that was to take the assets, put them in, and then I could walk around any ship I wanted. Back then, I only owned a Aurora. So I was like,
Yep.
I want to see what a freelancer looks like. I want to see what a Cutlass looks like. And that's what I
Yeah,
did.
it makes sense.
You
Well,
got to,
which is just go ahead.
what I was going to say is back then, all we had was the very basic hangars before. A lot of the newer backers won't
Yeah,
remember. We used to have like the very, very basic hangars. So
Oh
there
I
yeah.
remember
wasn't
those.
many ways to look at ships back then.
The good old, and it was like based on the size of the ship you had. I remember the long old deluxe hangar with.
It's like a business hangar. There's like all white, and even though I actually liked that model, I wish that I'm
No,
hoping that they'll take
the
those old
business
hangars and
hangar.
still.
The business hangar was in the middle. The deluxe hangar actually looked a little more less posh
Yeah,
than the mid grade hangar. And what was funny was is since I had started out with a rear admiral package, that was my first package. I never I never saw the business hangar other than um,
hmm.
I got to see the bottom one and I got to see the top one and I never saw the middle one and it drove me nuts because I'd always have to watch it on YouTube because it was the pretty hangar too.
And that's what I was thinking of though was is that I'm hoping that they use those old hangar assets later on down the line somewhere because I really did like that middle tier one more than I like the ones that we have now. Even don't get me wrong, the Revel in New York is cool and the industrial hangar is really nice to look at too. But I like that kind of lab white,
Yeah.
very clean.
Well, hopefully, rather than it being just well, I mean that's one of those things where like modularity and the room system and item port and skins, when more of those features are full featured, I think we'll see a little bit more love in that regard.
I think I
True.
put the Resident Evil theme in the jukebox for that particular. I
And
mean, it fits.
you know what's funny is if you go back and look at those hangars now, because we have those old assets, it is so amazingly low resolution and low fidelity. But for the time when we first got
Right.
them, they were absolutely amazing.
And that and that is funny too because like it's like going back and playing a video game that you played like 10 years ago. You're like, oh yeah, this was so great, and you go back and you're like, oh my god, I can barely even stomach this is so
Yeah,
bad.
what the hell?
Right.
Like I'm not even talking about like
Morrowind.
I remember playing like Guild Wars 2, which is a very pretty game color wise, and things like that. But like I went in to play it with my godson the other day, and I was like, oh my god, these graphics are so atrocious.
Morrowind
Star
comes to my
Citizen has
mind.
broken me.
Like the very first time I ever loaded up Morrowind, I absolutely loved the game. But when I went back to it one day, I'd done gotten used to Oblivion, and it was just like the difference between that game and Oblivion is just miles apart.
Oh
And
sure.
it's like,
Well,
wow,
have you heard about Skywind? That's the
I've heard about
the
it. I
mod
haven't.
project for Skyrim and Morrowind being put into that engine. So, like, I'm looking forward to that because Skyrim was pretty disappointing to me. But I've always wanted to play Morrowind, and I never did. I never got a chance to. I own it,
I
but
I always I every now and then I'll periodically look through the mod packs and I'll find out where these guys are adding these huge expanses of land. And I always hope that they make it, but I never do think they can finish because it's usually like two or three guys sitting there
yeah.
drinking beers and like trying to throw trees around. But
Well,
I mean,
hopefully, I mean, it looked pretty serious, so hopefully they come through with it. I mean, if you
I hope.
talking about modding, like if you ever played like Homeworld 2, the complex mod has gone through so many iterations, like 10, 11, 10 iterations, that if I remember right, Bagans, the guy who was the head of that, actually ended up working with the guys who were doing the reboot of Homeworld, The Deserts of Carrick. So, anyway,
Which is
there's hope. There's hope. That's all. That's all I'm saying. There's hope.
oh boy. So, Gray, which is more challenging to set up, the island or the SC assets? I mean, yeah, I know you had to get the island going. Was that prefab or did you do that all yourself or?
For me, level design comes very natural. I really
Ah,
like doing level design and sculpting the
Minecraft.
yeah, exactly. I have been playing Minecraft since the very, very early beta
Yup.
or late alpha. So for me, level design is fun. I can actually go in and spend hours just placing trees and shrubs and rocks. what was funny is Fiendish Feather found out that I actually placed all my terrain pieces individually. And it was really screwing up my FPS because it has to register each one individually instead of doing it as a vegetation layer where you put, scatter them about and they're all in one big hunk.
Right.
Yeah.
And he says, you do realize you could save a lot of time by just going to a level. And I was like, yeah, I know, but then you can't really move them individually. It just throws them all down, and then I got to go in and arrange. So I'd rather do it one by one. And he's like, Jesus, that's got to take days. I'm like, well, yeah, but I have days. So
Yeah, it's perfect setup. You have the situation and the time frame to do that. So
yeah, it keeps you invested and in having fun.
absolutely.
I'd like to see you. I'd like a challenge for you, and I don't know how if you're good for challenges or not, but I'd like to take the old freelancer model and the old cutlass models, and you can rust them out and like throw plants growing out of them and things like that, and have like a goodbye theme for a YouTube video.
Right on. I actually took they had a Hornet asset, and they didn't have the center turret or cargo module in it, so it was just like an empty circle. It didn't have any
Yeah.
engines or nothing. And I set it at an angle and like a rock behind it and some vines on it, and it actually made it its own thing where I started doing like a freelancer just barely coming out of the water and made it like
I remember those. Yeah, those were great.
yeah.
That was didn't Fiendish Feather do the thing for Veterans Day with the helmet on the rifle, on the SC rifle? Do you remember that?
Was that Fiendish or was that anything FPS?
Oh, it could have been. Remember. It could have been. I don't know, man. They're both so amazing. I don't
Yeah, the older videos, it's hard for me to remember who did what because back in the day, the first guy was
anything
FPS. He did some amazing stuff, and then Teller and Fiendish really took it to a whole new level. Especially, man, Fiendish right now is killing it.
Oh yeah, it's. Oh my gosh, dude! And this craziness with bulkheads that like when that opened up with the the Bengal coming, I was like, oh my god!
Yeah,
my pants can only get so tight.
Damn
I had him on Not So Sober Saturday last Saturday, and he had never been on camera before. He was gonna do a StarCast, and then he had to back out of it, so he was real camera shy.
Right.
And he showed us a scene, that opening scene with the Bengal and the Cutlass coming in and firing and stuff. The amount of assets and camera tracks and animations that go into making that single scene, it was like 1,200 pieces in that set.
Oh my god!
Each one is moving.
It's staggering. It really is. I mean, this community just does not fail to amaze. All the detractors, all the little crybabies and whines. It's like, dude, just shut up.
Right. We have a community like no other. I've never been involved in a gaming community that's been this just entrenched in a single game, and putting up with the delays, putting up with everything because we know what's coming. So people put their heart and soul in their creations.
Oh yeah. Well, and the thing is there's more to this game than the game. This game is a culture. It's a lifestyle. It's a hobby. It's a full.
Yeah.
We're engaging on so many different fronts that the delays may suck. Development time may take its toll, but there's so much more. If all you're here for is the balance in Arena Commander, you've got issues. Go away. Like
I was just
go play something else for a while.
But give me some thought to it. I mean, like there's this subgroup Trekkies. Then we have the Star Wars guys, which I guess would be either Jedi or Sith, depending on who's at the Comic-Con that day. I do suppose there's going to be citizens now, if they're not already.
Absolutely.
You mean at conventions
I mean, just
absolutely.
like maybe 2 years down the line, there's going to be droves of them. Maybe 5 years down the line, there's going to be even more of them. I have no idea, but I see that this is becoming its own thing. When something gets so big, it eventually begins to grow and get out of control, and that's kind of where we're at with Star Citizen. It's just continually moving.
I mean, I hope so. I know while I was in the military, CIG opened up in my backyard back home. They opened up in their Austin office, and I've lived in Austin. I've lived in Dallas, and here I am stuck in Japan, and I'm like, oh man, like all these conventions I'm missing. So my intention was that when I got out of the military and I came back home, that I would definitely have meetup groups. We would do like cosplay. We would do get-togethers, and that hasn't come to pass just yet. But I'm still resettling myself. So, but
Yeah,
it's definitely in the works, in the plans. I would love to see something like the Britizen Con and do it out of Dallas or even Austin. I hate that drive,
I,
but
I've been hoping that somebody would actually be goofy enough to try and actually do a Rebel Con and like actually do all the southern states or some shit just for the fun of it.
huh,
Yeah, for sure. And not to mention, we need some more iconic characters to be released for cosplay to really start up.
Yes.
You got Combustible Props. He did the cool
Oh
Marine
my God, yeah.
3D print. But I think once we have Squadron 42 out, I think that's when we'll definitely get into the cosplay aspect, because people just need that iconic character to dress up as.
Right. And see, me, I've never, I like role playing, and I've done LARPs and things like that. I'm a big nerd. And but I've never liked copying specific characters. I know a lot of people do like doing the cosplay where
You want to make your own.
Yeah, I'm more of a make my own. But so to that sense, I've slowly been like trying to build up my live persona that would. I tried to do it when I went to like CitizenCon in Manchester. I tried to have like a look, and it worked out okay. So, but but
As long as you I'll let you have that as long as you let me be the comedic foil every single time. I don't mind that. I'm the pirate that never can quite make it, the underdog. So there you go.
Right. Okay, so anyway. So great. Do you find that for instance, that streaming and YouTube is about building a brand presence for your organization, or well, I mean, actually, I kind of think I already know the answer, but I mean, can you talk about the difference between like having an org and then being a streamer? Like, are those two things synchronizing, and is there synchronicity?
In all actuality, I don't push my org very much on anything that I do. My
Sure.
org is very much for the casual player that wants to have fun. My buddy Rye Glitch is actually we're running it like a corporation, so he's like the CEO. He's doing our logos and structure, so
Nice,
he's going to be
nice.
doing a lot of the running. I ran a huge guild in WoW, and I don't want to get involved in that again. It's too much work.
Yeah. Well,
Been there too.
I when I came into Star Citizen, I had the same line of thinking. I was like, you know what? I've done the big, super competitive team PvP, cutting edge server top orgs leadership. I'm done with that. I'm just gonna
Let's do that.
I'm gonna be a normal Joe. I'm gonna be a normal I'm just gonna bring my ships. I'm gonna fly, and I'm gonna be casual. And
Yes.
How that didn't work for me personally was that like I joined an org, and they were pretty cool, and then they just like ate themselves from the inside, and they fell apart. And then I joined another org, and then they like fell apart, and then joined another org, and I'm like, oh my God, I got so frustrated with like, I don't know, just some of the weird expectations that people have. Like, they're like, oh yeah, you need to pick.
You're going to show up every Saturday, and you're going to polish my boots.
You need to pick a job, and that's going to be your job. And I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
we're like years away from release, and you're asking me if I'm going to only be an explorer, or only be combat, or only be industry guy. Like, I have ships enough for all three. Like, I'm not going to choose. Come on. Anyway,
Really.
Right on.
and that was actually part of the problem too. Is like, I originally I'd bought. I couldn't pick which role I wanted, so I figured since they had talked about the ships would be flyable before the game launched, I would basically fly all the ships I had, and the ones that I didn't like, I would sell off, and I would trim back to kind of like you were, like I'm a purist. I come from the idea of like I want to have just like one ship at the start. The only reason I even got over the whole idea of buying ships to fund the game was because I understood that development is going to take funds, and at the end of the day,
$20,000 later.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's yeah. So, but the thing was, and then my girl talked me into. We did the completionist pack together, and so.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. So.
I wasn't kidding.
Oh my God, dude! Like, so we split this, and I'm like, baby, this changes everything, because now I can't sell my ships. Like, now we're locked into a package, so we got to be committed. And so then I'm looking around trying to figure out how the hell am I going to make these ships, earn their keep,
Rent.
And so so basically, yeah, that was the beginning of me plotting and building Ion Industries, which is the org that I run, and it's a meta org, so it doesn't really exist in RSI so much as it's a mercenary thing, and the whole idea is that my members can play how they want to play, because I don't like people telling me that I have to log on to be hardcore, or I have to, whatever. But anyway, I don't know. We're not rambling. The long story short is
Do we have Board Gamer here?
I
Do
don't know.
we have Board Gamer? I know he likes the rambling. Get it? Huh?
You're funny.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna neg you. I'm Zorak, your space ghost. Let's get this thing going.
I will say this though, it's awesome that I think with the character things, I'm still gonna try to play individual characters with an individual ship, even though I have all those assets. I have most of my assets are set off to the side as a part of the organization, and so I've got sucked into the I can't even be a casual if I wanted to, but I'm gonna sneak off with my characters that nobody knows about, and I'm gonna play in my Aurora, and I'm gonna be a freaking space hobo.
And you can still do that, That's what a lot of people are telling me is don't melt my ships, just use my starter ship for the first, until I earn enough money to buy a freelancer, then switch to my freelancer.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, there's also the idea that you can just sit there and exclusively use your starter ship and rent out the larger ships to other people that need them or want them. You can generate an income and actually help fuel your org that way, while you just keep a low profile. Just a beta, just chilling out. Don't mind me.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways that you can go about it, and I think that's pretty cool. I mean, because I never wanted all those ships. I still don't. I mean, yeah, they're pretty and sexy, but at the end of the day, I'm never going to get my money in enjoyment out of it on that kind of scale. So now it's like most of my assets have become about building the community, about giving other people things to fly. So, and that's all right. Like, I mean, I have the background and the skill set to run an org. It just, I wasn't looking for that kind of responsibility. I just wanted to be a dirty mercenary.
Well, really, what it is that in an effect, by running a meta org, you really don't have an org group of people to answer to. You just have these org leaders that pinging you saying, "Hey, can I take the javelin out for a spin?"
That one may not get lent out.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not trying to reveal assets. I'm trying to inflate them. It's like, he's got 27 javelin.
Oh, Jesus Christ, I do not.
Yeah, there you go. But okay. So how does it balance out, Gray? Do the subs and the patrons funds counter the cost, or do you still front a majority of the money?
I am now funded totally by the fans, which is awesome. We actually make more than what it costs to run the show now. So every single bit of anything that's gathered through either Patreon or Game Wisp, it goes into giveaways now. We do giveaways almost every single show.
Dude, that is awesome.
Yeah, right now, I have 6 of the new dragonflies just sitting in my account now for just random giveaways.
See, we would love to. We would love to reach that level to actually be able to do the giveaways. I know that I certainly would, because it was. I was sitting there looking at the dragonflies, and I'm like, it's a 2-pack. I could give it to 2 people.
No, that's what sucks. 2-pack you can't split.
I don't know that, but hey, I'm trying.
But yeah, it's a good idea. It took me quite a while, like a good year and a half, almost 2 years, to get to the point where I could, pay all the fees that I pay. Because my wife told me, she doesn't mind me doing this, but we can't take it out of the family funds.
Right.
So at first, especially buying equipment and stuff like that, it put a little strain. And once it gets going and everything levels out, it's super fun. It's self-sufficient, and people really enjoy giveaways. I mean, let's be honest.
Right.
That's where it's all about, is giving back to the community. And I've actually had a few winners that weren't even they had signed up for Star Citizen but hadn't bought a pack yet. So all of a sudden they get a ship.
That is amazing. That's
kind of much to look for.
That's a Cinderella story.
But then again, I also get sometimes my mods will win, and then it's like, oh, you son of a bitch.
Funny story there. Like, I was helping with the Star Traders stream. Do you know the board game?
Yep, I remember you winning.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm still waiting on that. Well, the thing is like,
no way.
I won the ship, and I already owned the ship, so I just turned around and gave away my personal ship from my inventory on the Facebook group. I ran a sub contest in order to in order to drive more excitement and push people back into the thing, and so gave that away. And I'm like, but where's my winnings? Because
I think
I
that
gave away an org ship.
I, I think that I would have waited on that one.
I probably should have, but I was excited and I wanted to see more
It's
people.
good to.
Dude, that game is going to be awesome. Star Traders is a lot of fun. So
For sure.
Well,
Now, have you got back with them about the ship you won?
yeah, no, I contacted the artist and I contacted the Miku, the host of the stream recently, but because it's Ben's ship, so he's the one who's got to do it. And like the thing is it happened right before Ben and Alexis lost her
Yep.
father, and I'm not impatient. I'm here for the long haul. I've met Ben
We
and
got
Alexis
time.
in person. I really didn't want to make a big deal out of it, so it's just I'm still not worried about it. It's coming. It'll handle
So
itself.
Oh, for sure.
is managing all the extra effort involved with the Patreon and sub streams worth it, or is it just eating into the cost? And we're factoring time or money.
Right, like is basically like not just the like you'd already said about the money, but like how like the time investment that you put into it, like running the contest and stuff. How much more effort does that take?
A lot. And the thing is I work 10-hour shifts, 5, 6, sometimes 7 days a week.
Woo!
Not to mention, I'm a dad, I'm a husband, and
Yeah.
so it's rough to find the time. Patreon is a little tougher than Game Wisp. Game Wisp now integrates with Deepbot, which integrates with Twitch, so it actually kind of does some of the work for you. But you have
Nice.
to sit down, you have to list out all your Patreons, you have to go. I have different tiers that they can support at, so I have to
Right.
separate all the tiers. Each tier gets different giveaways, so it's a little bit of work, but well worth it as far as I'm concerned. Because my main thing is interaction and giving back to the community. So I actually enjoy
Right.
it, even though it's a shit ton of work, but it's fun.
Right. So
I
like
was
when you're doing that, you have to. So it sounds like there's a lot more setup time. Like, but once you have it set up, it works out okay. You just got to stay on top of like new subs and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. The initial setup is definitely rough, but after that, it's just a monthly deal where you have to pull all your patrons out into a Word document because Patreon doesn't do an API that talks to Twitch or
Right.
Deepbot.
Right.
So you have to do everything manually by separating names by tier levels, and it's a little bit
Yeesh.
of work. And but it's like there again, you know what you're getting into before you get into it, so you just
Right.
have to stick with it.
Right. So, what kind of games do you favor most? What do you have the most fun playing right now? I mean, do you have time to play anything besides Star Citizen and streaming?
Yeah, see, that's the funny thing. People take me as a huge gamer, and nowadays I am actually not. I went through Arc. I loved Arc for a while,
Nice.
but mostly now I like to jump into Star Citizen, play for a couple hours with my people in my Discord channel,
Yep.
and every once in a while I play some Minecraft. And if a new game comes out, I will try it, and if it grabs my attention, like we had a game come out not too long ago called Planet Base, and I really loved it. It's a top-down building game. You're on Mars. You have a limited amount of resources, and you have to build a base with oxygen, water, stuff like that. Very
It,
fun,
it sounds
but I
like
just
it.
don't have the time.
Yeah.
well, and in and of itself, doing the stream, doing the Twitch, doing all the casting and everything that you do, I suppose in and of itself, it is its own game because it is a
Yeah,
challenge, and it is a
absolutely.
rewarding challenge. So yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
Um,
and I do take it almost like a game, with setting everything up, making sure things run smoothly, which they never do. But it's always fun.
You have no idea how happy that makes us feel because we have a thing. If you go back into the history of our show, we have a thing about chainsaws, sandwiches, and potato chips. You'll have to watch back a few episodes to catch them
No,
all, but
don't do it.
just go ahead and do it.
Gotcha.
That's the thing. It's our own personal brand. We're not even Chuck Norris. We're not the
Episode number one was.
fun. It
Oh
was
yeah.
complete
Oh
and
yeah.
sheer unadulterated fun.
That's a word. Yes, that's a word. It does have a
I am
definition, but they don't
no
necessarily
no
align.
shame. No shame. If we start from the bottom, this is our bottom, boys. This is how bad we were. So I'm pretty sure anybody can do it. Come on now.
Right.
So, any close friends or family that play SC? Do you have Mrs. Gray-headed Gamer intending to play with you in the Lone Black?
Absolutely. She actually enjoys racing. Nice.
That's beast mode right there.
Yeah,
'Cause
it's
if you
also
can
he
race,
does good.
oh my goodness.
The problem is 2.3 got a little buggy for us, so she hasn't played in a while. And now with 2.4 changing all the
Keybinds,
key
yeah.
bindings and all, I told her we'll have to sit down, redo the HOTAS. She flies HOTAS, which is awesome.
Good for her.
And
That's a
we're
good
gonna
woman.
yes,
Oh hush.
and we're gonna set up a second PC for her. I'm gonna take a few parts out of my existing computer, upgrade those to the new NVIDIA pieces, and then when the female model releases, she's actually
Yes.
gonna play the universe with me.
My sweetheart, like I said, like she went in halvesies with me. So I mean, she's deeply invested, but whereas like I am constantly, moderating in the community. We rerun the show. I play as much as I can. She is like. She's just waiting. She's like, "Give me my damn female model. This has been too long. I'm pissed."
Just a crazy idea. Should we do like an all women episode of Station 42
Uh,
with
well,
like Mrs. Gray Headed Gamer and that would be kind of cool to listen to that banter.
I would love to actually have more of the female voice, like taking part in Star Citizen actively and out. I mean, gals tend to have a lot of reservations about stepping into the more visible arena. I think just because historically you've got a lot of weird biases and a lot of
Yeah,
just
yeah. I was
not
just
not
thinking
every
as a
girl wants
fun.
to take up that mantle of you know of I don't know, social reform.
It comes to mind though. I mean, like if you have these three really avid, really engaged, female gamers that just would be willing and be, dare I say, brassy enough to go in and like do a show, it would be an interesting thing. It would be an interesting parallel. And plus,
Right.
you can make it as a spoof, like Halloween, like we all had
No,
a
no,
change or
don't
something.
make it
I don't
as
know.
don't make it as a
I'm
spoof.
playing. I'm
It's
playing.
it's
I'm
awesome as it
playing.
is. I mean, it
I
would be.
honestly, yeah.
I mean, it would be interesting if because I know Budio Hunter, my gal, she was originally supposed to be one of the hosts on this show, but during her move back from overseas, and us getting situated here in the States again, um, like she's been more focused on other things. So like it's it'll come in time. So it'll be good to see a variety of voices in the gaming community. So anyways.
I just wanted to ask the dirty question. I'm sorry.
Dirty. So, what kind of community do you imagine yourself growing? I mean, I know you said that the Galactic Callers Guild is more of a kind of very casual friendly. So, and you were saying that your friend handles most of the CEO responsibilities, like the marketing and the branding and things like that. What role? What do you want to see it become? Is that exactly what you want it to be, or do you think it'll metamorphose over time?
I have a feeling with Ryan Charge, it's going to be very professionally ran, and I'm more of the "Hey guys, I got a couple hours, let's go blow something up" kind of mindset. So we're going to have to see. I am a very casual player now. I was a hardcore player back in my early marriage, and it almost ruined my marriage.
Sure.
So I'm
Sure.
not
Good
going to do
answers.
that anymore. So
Right.
it's going to be one of those things where if I have time, I have time. Great. If I do not, then it's just
Yeah.
life
Yeah.
is going to take priority this time.
Right. Yeah, no,
Oh,
I see that. I just turned 40 myself, and you know, you and I share exactly kind of what you were saying. Like I as much as I talk about gaming and as much as I love talking about the game, I do not play very often or very much. I cannot remember the last game I completed 100% through. That's a single player game. It's kind of
Same
embarrassing.
here.
And yet my Steam
Same
account
here.
is still too large.
I'm thinking on it. I'm thinking on it. Diablo 3.
Nice. That doesn't count because that game is never ending.
It is, but it isn't. I mean, technically, the single player, if you
Did
played
what?
it through for the
Did,
story, you're done.
yeah,
Just one time.
did you finish it through to like Ultra
I got
Nightmare?
I got all the way to the very ending, nearly in that. I was there's the one boss that just spews out the gas cloud, and I never could get past him. And after that, I just said, okay, I've tried this like 27 times. I'm done. I'm tabling this.
On
So
what difficulty? That was what I meant.
the worst difficulty.
Oh,
It was the absolute worst. But
insane. I need to reinstall that game. Then I'll be disappointed with it on its
well,
own.
that one there's that one boss. All he does is just throw a poison cloud all over the room, and there's just no way to dodge the cloud. And I've never focused on healing. I focus on offensive.
Right.
And so I'm demon hunter, and I'm just sitting there getting just laid to waste.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, I was in Japan at the time, so my ping was so terrible, and because Diablo 3 forces you even single player to play online, I and
Yep.
it was before they had changed it was before their first patch where they had like evened out some of the difficulty settings. So I just like if I blinked or there was a tiny little lag spike, I would die and lose all this you know work, and I was just like, a hell with that. So I just didn't play it. Or I gave it up, and I haven't reinstalled it since I've got back to more stable connections.
So, is it challenging managing an org or a stream community and still delivering the YouTube content? I know you juggle between both. Do you just, say, okay, I'm going to focus on stream this week, and just maybe YouTube's going to settle off to the side, or do you try to balance both at all?
Yeah, that's the thing. Once I started streaming, I was doing both for a while, and it just doesn't work for me. So I'm now more of a Twitch streamer because of the community interaction, and I've really let my YouTube channel just slide. I keep all my old island videos up, of course, because people like
Right,
to
right.
go back and check out the sizes and stuff. But I'm leaving more the YouTube. We've got some great YouTubers out there now, and my Star Citizen Island is not as effective as it once was because of the fact there's so many ship size comparison pictures and videos out
Yeah.
there. So now it doesn't hold that wow factor like it used to, and it's the evolution.
Sure, sure.
So and also doing Twitch and YouTube at the same time, it's so much work.
I can imagine. Like, yeah, like sometimes, like, like, yes, yes. Shortest answer ever. Yes.
All right, next
Right.
question.
So tell us a little bit about like you're working with Redacted now, right? Like they're like a community, like they're building themselves into this, I guess, meta community of content creation and streaming. Like what's that like?
Yeah, it's cool because uh you have like Bad News Gaming, you've got the Test Stream Squad. Redacted's always been around, but they've been kind of just low key, and they've really started to bring it together and trying to make a go-to all web page where you can go for articles and updates and find a lot of the
Right.
as far as I'm concerned, some of the best streamers like WTF and Twerk are two of the best streamers. Of course, you have Captain Richard, and you've got Bad News Baron and
Right,
a few
right,
others,
right.
but they're really just trying to condense themselves into a cohesive team, like almost like a family.
Right, like a collaboration ish kind of yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, we want.
cross branding, cross marketing, so it basically helps everybody.
Yeah, and you've got like Board Gamer does amazing informational videos.
Oh God, yes.
Nubify does some
Yep.
really great
Yep.
information videos now, and then you have the streaming section, and we just got a young lady. I think her name is Alyssa. I hate the fact that I can't remember now. Um,
Yeah.
but she did a lot of writing for bigger web pages and stuff, blogs and all, and
Nice.
she's been doing these technical write-ups and just stories in general on there, and she is flipping amazing. So they're really getting serious about it, and I was a part of BNG for a while. I didn't really fit in very well. They're more,
BNG? What is BNG?
yeah, Bad
Bad
News
News
Gaming.
Gaming.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, and they were very professional, and especially Baron. He's very, that's his job. So he's very
Right.
professional about it.
Right.
And I was very casual. So I kind of eased out of that group, and I hopped in with WTF and Twerk because, they're just hanging out, having fun. We just goof off a lot. And now that they're starting to get serious, they're not doing it as in a business sense, like
Right.
advertisements and crap like that, but they're doing it more for a family environment.
Sure.
It really fits. I like it.
Right on, man. Oh, that's good. I mean, as long as you're, I even like the Facebook group that I run. The reason that I initiated was I figured it would give people the kiddie pool to interact within to figure out who you wanted to play with and who you didn't. And it's part of even the policy of not necessarily trying to let people be themselves, giving them the rope to be who they are. Be less rules so that people aren't hidden behind a behavior expectation. So that way, like if you get along with these guys, you get along with these guys, and you can kind of figure it out. And
Right on. And
the
your
the
Facebook group, man, it exploded.
oh my god, I know it's
No kidding.
little nuts, but But it's just good. It's good to see. It's good to see people make those long-term friendships. To connect with other like-minded people. And just like you said, there's nothing wrong with being more professional and corporate. And there's nothing wrong with being more casual and relaxed. It's all about finding the right people that where you're spending your time is going to be of best value to you. So
Absolutely.
yeah, no, that's good.
So, is Redacted more exclusively a meta content oriented entity as opposed to an in game functioning entity, org, or do you find that those participate in Redacted are probably going to likely end up co-org together at some point down the road?
Ooh, right. Will the relationships you build now turn into its own org later, and or
Yeah.
Or its own? Hey
Well,
now. There's always a dark side. It might turn into its own spy ring. Come on now.
yeah, the deal with Redacted, WTF does this a lot. Redacted is not going to be associated like as far as in game. It's WTF has an org called Overdrive, and it's a pirate org straight up. I have an org
Aha.
Cargo, so I'm hoping we can get a good
Get along.
relationship going.
you're like, so how many get out of free cards do I get this month? Right.
More along the lines that he just passes out a banner saying, "This is where I'm at this month. If you show up here, you will get robbed."
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. It's funny too because I remember early on in the game, people would come on and they'd be like, "Oh, pirates are evil," and I'm like, "Dude, guys, we're all players. Everybody's gonna try a little bit of everything. If you can't talk to somebody out of game because they're a pirate in game, you've got issues." Like,
Right on.
Anyways.
And we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. I'm going to go ahead and spin off one of our previous commercials because of other entities. Hang on. We will be right back with you in around about 3 minutes. So let me go ahead and dig up one from the archives. You ready?
Go for it.
One of our generous sponsors, the Artec Pet VR Pod and Litter Box. Don't have time to walk that ship-broken pet rhino dog? Is your ship's interior just not good enough for your cat and now it's demanding to have its own throne, scepter, and encouraging you to dip in the slave trading to do all of its bidding and now it's contemplating ruling the universe with an iron claw? Mask that doubt and byproduct with the Artec Pet Pod. Keep them comfortable on the inside while your ship is exploding on the outside. Give your pet its own universe to rule and let you continue ruling yours. Take your work out of feeding and cleaning up after the little unruly beast with the Artec Pet VR Pod and Litter Box. Did you ever pick up a Artec by any chance, Traz? Oh, come on now. You've had me bound and gagged in this ship forever and a day, and I have been soiling myself in the corner for the longest time, and you have not gotten me one yet.
we just dropped that off at the Endeavor for growth. as a nice mulch.
So that's what you've been selling to the Endeavor. Oh, you forgot. Well, hey, look, I can't help it. I'm amazing things make amazing waste. There you go.
Okay.
What? Well, you remember that time I drank too much Goldschlager and my shit sparkled?
Whoa.
No. What?
No. I don't think I've ever had Goldschlager or whatever that stuff is.
You should try it.
I don't know that I should. That's a little creepy.
No. It's gold is completely inert to the human body, so it actually doesn't do anything other than clog up your appendix or something, maybe. But that's a different story for a different day.
Who needs one of those?
I don't have one, so I'm doing just fine.
All right. All right.
What?
Well, I think we only have like a couple of questions before we move into the Star Citizen content discussion. So
I know.
Killing me.
We're don't. That's not me. It's not me. Check your Discord. Okay, there you go. The things I do.
Very nice. Should have given me the what was it?
I gave you the heads up. I'm doing a commercial right now.
Gotcha. I see. I'm watching. I've got the other stream up, so I'm making sure that's going all right.
Dual monitors, man. Dual
Oh,
monitors.
I know. And that's the thing is I play with a 40-inch right in front of me, so I've got a small laptop to the side, and then I've got an iPad that's hooked over, but I don't actually have like a second monitor on the same computer to pipe off side data, and yeah. For a while, I was really addicted to the idea of getting triple monitors, but I've since changed my thinking over to wanting to do like a really nice large monitor.
Well, you can separate a big monitor into 4 different sections. I'm running triple now, and I need a 4th for streaming. It sucks. You need so much real estate for streaming.
Wow. Yeah, that's going to be crazy. Well, you know what?
I'm running off of one monitor, and I've got the show notes on one side, and I've got the Discord on the other, so I was able to catch the blip. So
yeah.
I mean, hey, it works for me.
Yeah.
See, anyway,
I've got OBS on the one side and then the show notes on the right. So, but I mean, I guess I could have split it up into multiple windows. But anyways. All right. So great. Like, do you have any favorite game mechanics from other games that you would like to see in Star Citizen?
Oh God, I from other games, just basic mechanics. Oh Lord.
Resident Evil. We'll just say that one.
Yeah, what's funny is there's really no other mechanics. All the other mechanics from other games are so kind of baseline and I guess kind of generic. Sure. Yeah, lackluster. Like Eve mining. You send your drones out and you watch a movie on the second monitor.
Wow.
So, wow. I do want to see cargo and mining bad, but I don't want it to be like any other game. I want it to be that engaged, wow. I want to engage. Yeah, I want to be able to load my ship. I want to be able to push crates in there and load it. I know it might get old after a while, but I can't wait for that.
But I mean, that's the thing though, is if it pays out well, people will do it. I mean, look at. I mean, did you ever play EverQuest, the original like EQ1?
No.
Oh, but you played WoW a lot, right? Like, did you play it early on before like it got crazy?
I played it when it first came out.
Okay, all right. So like it was a little tougher then. So, but I mean, so you understand that like there were things that if they were valuable, there was no limit to the amount
grind the crap out of them.
Oh yes, exactly. Boom. There you go. So I mean, everyone has to worry about like whether or not it's going to be boring or not. Don't worry about that. Just put the mechanics in and let people figure it out. If it's boring, then people won't want to do it, which means the value of what comes of that job will be higher, which means more people will do it.
Right. It's like hunting the ghost mushrooms.
Right.
Hunting the damn ghost mushrooms in Warcraft so that you can make invisibility potions. Yeah. Yeah, it's boring as ever, but it pays a fortune.
Right on. I was the same way with pet collecting. There's rare pets that would go for astronomical prices on my server, so I'd spend days grinding one pet.
Little bitty black dragons.
Yeah.
I managed to get one time. That was all I ever got. So there you go, done. Boom. But no, there's always going to be those little items like that. And you mentioned mining. It makes me think of Galaxy on Fire. Have you ever played that game?
No, sir.
I want to say it's Galaxy on Fire. Maybe if my memory serves me correct. But what it is that it actually has a mining mechanic. It is a space game, but you're basically drilling, and if you go too far off into the circle, the drill bit will either shatter or break.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So they've tried to build in a little more.
Yeah, it's more than just.
For it. Sure.
Yeah, there's at least no sit and watch a movie while your drones are.
And that's what we need. We don't need point and click anything in this game. And a lot of people worry about the grind. I hate to tell you, real life is a grind. I grind at work every single day. When I come home, if I'm grinding space rocks in the middle of space, I'm cool with that because I'm in space. I don't want to have.
You're not at work.
Right. Yeah, I don't want to have noodle packing grinding or nothing like that. But
I mean, and it does. It's interesting how there needs to be a little bit of how it needs to be moderated. A little bit to both sides. Like for instance, like back to EQ. I mean, you're not familiar with it, but it's kind of like World of Warcraft. But in that game, you'd fight these monsters. kind of over and over, because they would respawn every like 30 minutes or whatever. So you and your party would migrate from one area to another and clear out as much as you could, as much as your damage per second output and your healer's mana could handle. And then, you would have to sit down and recover mana. But the thing is the time that it took you to sit down and recover your mana was really slow. But that gave you a chance to, like, grab a drink or chat with people, and it actually, I think, helped the social aspect of the game, because it wasn't like, say, Guild Wars 2, where that game is like an arcade hack and slash game. You can basically just spam buttons as long as you have the attention span for
I could face wreck my keyboard and win matches in that game.
Oh yeah, exactly. There was no skill to it, and it was just it was just nonstop action. There was never a moment where you needed to like sit down and take a break.
Right. And I hate the fact that there's no roles. I like everyone to have a role. Like in Star Citizen, it's gonna be awesome. You're gonna have your security force that's protecting your miner. Inside your miner, you're gonna have people that are scanning for ore deposits. You're gonna have people that are grinding them. You're gonna have people that are refining them. So everyone's gonna have a role. Everyone has to work together. So it brings in, just like you're talking about, the community, brings them together, socializing, communicating back and forth.
I wish I could mod. I wish I could do an emulation server for Guild Wars 2, and like completely mod it to remove like the insta travel everywhere, slow down the run speed a little bit, basically make it so that the battles took longer, so that the choices of which abilities you used made more of a difference. So you actually had to be a little more, I guess. I don't know. Basically, I just want to make it hard mode.
Completely. See, I would take it a completely different curveball. I would remove the insta warp, but I would add something crazy like chocobos just to be different, and I'd actually give this like, I'd make a use item. It would be like a bola or something, and you would literally chunk it at the chocobo, and it would stop the guy so that you could actually engage him for PvP, or maybe a PvE monster might be able to like stop the little critter, but at the same time you still had a method of transport and travel, but you actually had to navigate through it, and you'd have to weave through it, and you'd have to dodge other players because they're gonna beat your head off if they find you in their turf. I'm all for conflict, but I don't want to have it to be where, like, if I want to get somewhere, I want to be able to get somewhere with some kind of an improvement. But I don't like insta warp. I don't like click and I'm there. That's defeating. They went to the trouble to make all this art, and so now they're going to just let people skip it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the argument there with a lot of games, I know this gets away from like Star Citizen, but it still is relevant too, because if you have a small universe where it's really quick to jump across the system or jump to your buddy who needs help, I mean, that might be great, because the argument is, well, we want it to be a social game, and the longer you're apart from your friends, then you're not able to log on and just have a good time. And I get that, because as a casual player, I like that too. But I also, if there's no meaning or consequence for the distance that you travel, then there's
SCE's kind of answered that.
They're working on it. I mean, I like that it does take time to kind of jump across. I don't know, but they haven't, obviously, since we don't have jump points, we don't have full systems, they haven't really tried to balance any of the.
So I'm in Freelancer 127 Alpha, and I'm floating around in like the most crazy, stupid places that I shouldn't be, and I get into trouble. Well, I have 2 NPCs on board, and I have myself. The thing that I absolutely agree with what Star Citizen is doing, and I don't know if they've changed this or not, so please update me. But the idea that you can actually take an NPC and you can actually have a friend take control of said NPC is a beautiful thing. So that way you do have a way of insta warping, but it doesn't break. But it doesn't break lore, and you have
to be at a hub. So you'd have to be at a station or at a hub where you can.
But that's still fair.
Sure.
That's still fair to me, because in my mind I might be in like way the hell out somewhere, and my best friend might be the opposite direction for whatever reason.
Sure.
That is a beautiful mechanic to know that I can hop in and then help him, and then hop right back out and go on about my way.
Right. Yeah, no, it'll be interesting. I just don't want them to trivialize the the value of having traveled a long distance to get someplace. You know what I mean? The strategic value of having people here or there or wherever. I mean, you want that to have meaning. You know, and even if that's boring to travel the extra 20 minutes, or like Gray and I being, if we're casual and we just want to log in and have a good time, the thing is I just want, if the universe is so full of things to do, if you log on and you can't go fight, and sure, that might have been your first choice, but you're far away from that where the action is, there are other options that you can do. They may not be your first option, but it still means that at that point, that gives you a reason to interact with the community. Maybe that's where you help a newbie out, or you overclock some mods and sell it because you just happen to be someplace where that's what you could do there. You know, I mean, yeah.
Well, every piece, like for example, every piece of music that I make that I make privately is like, it's not going to be fast paced all the time. It's going to be dynamic. It's going to be, it's going to get slow. So a game should
fast paced all the time.
No, but then go play Guild Wars 2. Well, what I'm saying is that I honestly think there should be those slow moments, those dull moments.
Yes.
I don't want a person to be bored constantly, but if they have 5 minutes of just nothing to do for a second, that means they can, like you're saying, they can go and look for a person to help, or it might make that next fight that much more tense because they weren't expecting it. And they literally are. It builds anticipation. It makes it, in horror movies do it all the time. You hear that creepy music build up and build up and build up, and then it's just a cat.
Well, it's you want it to be an actual universe. You want it to be a place that you don't log in because you're looking for a quick adrenaline fix in a dogfight, or maybe you do, but the universe is so vast and there's so many things you can do that you log in just to be in it. It's like Gray was saying, like, you're in space, so if that's your chosen medium of where you want to experience and be immersed, then there you go.
Absolutely. And also with some downtime, one thing we got to remember too is it gives us a chance to enjoy the beauty of the game too, because you figure once you get into the deep part of the universe, you're going to find things that are just, out of the blue, beautiful stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Say good morning, Reagan.
Good morning.
Hello, Reagan.
Good morning, Reagan.
All right, Reagan's gonna ask you the last question.
Man, if you could pull that off, I'd be amazed. I'd be scared. I was like, okay, who's scared of you?
Right.
I'm thinking that we're at the cursor.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Long haul, big hull series, type transporting. With the security and mass quantities, are you gonna have a giant ship, or are you just something more akin to Atlantic Express with a small cargo? Huh? This is what I deal with in the morning.
I'll ask.
I'm with you, buddy.
I'll save him since he's
Go ahead. Yeah, please.
Basically, do you think for yourself? Are you looking for? Do you think you're going to go with the hull series where you've got exposed cargo and it's all about moving massive stuff, in safer areas, or with security, or are you going to go with something more like Planet Express, a la Futurama, where you've got a ship that's can dive, dodge, dip in and out, shielded cargo bays, smaller, faster, more smuggler-y? Is that a word?
Right. Well. Of course, like everyone else, I'm going to have a couple different play styles. When I play with my org, we've got every ship in the org. Big ships, small ships, whatever. So when we all get together, we're going to run big runs, lots of security, that big coordinated corporate runs. But when I get on, my favorite thing is going to be more like blockade running, a la Han Solo kind of smuggling. My Freelancer Max, and that's going to be my Millennium Falcon, is my Freelancer Max.
Nice.
Yeah, when Star Citizen first came out, and I was looking at it, it was the choice between the $110 Hornet and the $110 Freelancer, and I could not decide. So I walked away for a month, right? Because one, it was expensive, and I'd been burned on too many other games, and I was like, rabble. So when I finally came back and committed that I was going to make the decision, I was going to decide. And I looked at the two ships, and I couldn't decide because, I like the combat. I'm good at the combat. I'm a great pilot. In other games, And then I looked at the Freelancer, but I'm like, I know that long term, I would want to play kind of a Han Solo type of character, in the verse, right? And run missions and such. And so I was like, oh, the freelancer, you know. So then I was like, oh, what's this thing right above it? We got to like 110 is crazy. That is ridiculous. So what's the next step up in the Kickstarter? So I looked.
$20,000.
No, shut up. It was like $245 or whatever it was. I'm like, that is batshit crazy. Who is gonna spend? That is just redonkulous. What is it? So I go and I look, and it's the Constellation, right? And they're like, oh, it's 3 to 5 man ship. I'm like, oh, 3 to 5 man. I love groups. I like flying in a 3 to 5 man group. That's my perfect. That's my ideal.
So it starts.
And then I'm like, oh, and it's got a turret, kind of like the Millennium Falcon. You climb up to and climb down into it. And it's and what is this? It's got missiles and it's a space superiority and it's got cargo. It can do a little bit of everything. Oh, well, what? And then the words that happened. That Chris Roberts, you sly dog. He was like, it's StarCitizen's Millennium Falcon equivalent. I'm like, you motherfucker. Bye now.
And it started right then.
Yes. Oh, God damn it. And it's funny because, like, the Freelancer Max, and that's the thing, too, is like my day one ship, if I were choosing a day one ship, would have been the Freelancer Duration. Or it would have been the Freelancer Ms. fitted with all the Freelancer Duration's equipment. So I would have surrendered some cargo in place of extra, stopping power, for my little long-range exploration vessel.
Right on. And I'm very excited to see the reworked Ms. and Max.
Oh, God, I know. I'm so excited. Oh. Yeah, he's...
Well, at one point I owned the standard Freelancer, the Max, the Dur. I never owned a Miss because I'm not a big dogfighter,
right.
But I owned all 3 of those, and I'm thinking, why do I have these? What am I going to do with all 3 of these? So I'm down to a standard Freelancer, which when the game launches, I'm going to sell my standard Freelancer.
Yeah, I'm surprised you kept the standard over the Max. Like, the Max I would have kept, but, like, I don't know. The standard's the only one that I'm like, I don't see where... yeah, anyways.
Yeah, well, my very first in-game ship purchase will be the Freelancer Max. I want to be able to walk into the dealership and have that feeling I used to have back in the 90s in Privateer when I knew I was going to buy that new ship, and I'm like, oh my God, I'll take that one. And then that first time you fly it off, I can't wait.
Oh my God, and then the first time you dig it into an asteroid and cry.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be great.
Yeah, I that does make me sad, like, I don't know, like, I love that experience too, and so I have to constantly tell myself that it's going to be okay, that this game isn't a linear progression game, that you're just, there are different roles, it's okay.
That's right. Yeah. That's the thing. Like, I'm going to officially start the game. I have my Omega, I love racing.
Yeah.
I have my Reliant, because I'm a Misk fanboy.
And it's really pretty.
It is. And then I have, if they release more motorcycles before release the game, I'm going to own all the motorcycles. I think that's the best idea ever. Planet-side racing? Yes, please.
Good. We'll talk about that in the show too. Like assuming we don't run you out of time, because I mean we could actually have you on 2 shows in a row and have like one where we just talk content, one where we interview you.
Come on.
But
the guy's got stuff to do. Let's go.
Oh well, fine. Well, fine then, because the Dragonfly is the first topic of discussion as we move on. So let's do that. All right. So
roll out.
That covered a ton. Thanks for taking the time to let us ask you all those up close and personal questions. It's because it's a script. I figure the community will love getting to hear a favorite content creator chatting it up. Well, of course they will. Greyhead is awesome. Anyways, all right. So moving on. So Dragonfly, motorcycles, and go.
Man, I'll tell you right now, I'm a motorcycle fan in real life. I've rode motorcycles forever. I just sold my ZX-10 a couple years back, and mainly because I'm getting older and I want to get into a cruiser bike later in life. Yeah. But when they were talking about the Dragonfly, I always hoped it would be a space motorcycle, but I thought it was going to be more like a Robotech suit that you hopped into and kind of fly around.
That was what I expected, because one of their original descriptions was like, "Oh, you're going to put it on," and I figured that a motorcycle wouldn't have as much usability in the verse right now, whereas the power suit would give you the ability to do things like, EVA repairs in an upgraded way from, say, just, floating out there in your normal spacesuit. You'd be able to use it for powerlifting. You'd be able to use it for, like, say, as a heavy FPS combat, maybe, if it was modified.
Mech fights, man.
It would have all these different, like, salvage and repair and attack and boarding. So I just figured. So I'm actually still hoping that they do that. Maybe a different brand later.
You said doo-doo.
I did.
New mission. How about a new mission?
I'm sorry, that's a thing at my job.
Ooh, looks like somebody's.
Oh, we're all about the bad jokes here.
Just put on your head is a serious.
But yeah, you got to figure either or would work. We're gonna have the power suit next Great Star Marine, so I can't wait to see that. But the fact that they came out with these motorcycles and they are very Star Wars-esque.
Yes.
And they
the
showed
speeder
that
idea was legit. I did not see that coming. That was great.
The concept art with it speeding across the desert planet, and they a couple shots down from that, they put the open cockpit racing, and they've actually put it for December 8th through the 14th or 8th through the 12th or something like that. This year, it's 2946. So I'm wondering, are they going to, have it in game and put out like an open cockpit racetrack? That would be so awesome.
That would be absolutely fantastic.
I'm totally down, man.
I'm still waiting for the QAs because I never buy a ship until I've read the QAs, just as an act of willpower. so I can at least tell people I'm not a giant child about this. But so I can't wait to see the QAs and what they talk about it. But yeah, no, I'm pretty in love with the Dragonflies. I have a Caterpillar already. I wish I had the funds expendable right now to be able to like buy enough of those to have a full Caterpillar completely filled with LTI bikes good to go.
Oh my God.
Just because like I don't think that's a very strong attack strategy, but I know that there are going to be situations where it is where you're like, yes, release the hounds of war.
Can you imagine a fully laden Caterpillar dropping every single door, 3 dragonflies per pod?
Yep.
They all
12,
come out like
15
a Japanese
maybe?
animated video.
I actually thought that might be cool if you show up to a mining site. You would actually take that kind of arrangement, not for combat specifically. I mean, defense, sure, but as a scouting option. Like the Caterpillar pulls up with your Orion and your Hull C and your whatever, your prospectors, and then boom, you unload 12 dragonflies that scatter out and do perimeter scouting, both for looking for ores, looking for enemies, looking for trouble, whatever. They do give you a spherical defense, survey formation or whatever, and then but then again, that's each one of those is piloted by a player, and Star Citizen, we're still so far away that we don't really know what the balance of player to ship is. Like right now, having 5 people on a constellation is not as effective as having 5 Hornets, or 5 anythings really.
Right.
So hopefully down the road it'll change that a multi-crew ship will be a force multiplier. So like 5 people on a constellation should be as good as 10 Hornets. I mean, people would cry if that's were the actual case, but like it would. But eventually, multi-crew ships need to be more valuable, because otherwise, why would anyone ever waste the time when they could just fly their own ship?
When I looked at the Dragonfly, the first thing I thought of was an Imperial Dragoon, which is basically a horse rider that carries a guy into battle and probably removes a guy that's wounded out from battle. So the Dragonfly dropping in with the Caterpillar. Yeah, medical evac and reinforcement resupply. So basically, he drops one guy, he picks another guy back out, drops another guy in, packs another guy that needs help back out. So he's constantly in flux, going back and forth and putting the FPS tension on whatever target he's actually hitting.
That'd be interesting if there were some some modular mounts in the back, so like you drop those ammo crates or whatever those are that are on the back, and like place stretchers or something, so you could actually haul wounded people out. I mean, if they go into the medical side of things, to where you actually do need, actual medevac situations.
That would be a beautiful thing to see actually happen, because that way it's effectively keeping that tension going, and it's your guys are getting wounded because one of your caterpillars has a med bay in it, so they're getting patched up really quick and then going right back into it.
Yes. That's all I have to say about that.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. I know. It's like there's not much I can say, but yes.
And my part for the show of today is done. So no.
Boom, Mike. Drop.
Yeah. Yep. There you go.
Yeah, with the dragonflies, they can bring in such an amazing gameplay option, having that small personal transporter. A lot of people are saying, oh, well, they don't have a quantum drive and this and that. Well, you know what? It doesn't need it. If you ask me, they're supposed to have a mothership. Like someone was having a discussion with me. Yeah, they're having a discussion with me about not being able to enter atmosphere. Because you have like the Red Bull guys that have jumped from the upper atmosphere in their suits. They're like, well, they survive. I was like, well, upper atmosphere and space is different.
Yes,
yeah,
that's
100% different.
And it comes down to speed, because there's nothing like upper atmosphere, still atmosphere. You still have something. You're starting off slow. From space, you're coming at such a high velocity that when you hit the atmosphere, you cook.
Right, and that's the thing. You're running tens of thousands of miles per hour to keep in orbit, and people think you just kind of drop in. No, you're actually skipping and blasting through the atmosphere. It's totally different.
Yes, it is.
What the deal with the quantum drive though that I've always thought about was I was hoping that like maybe when I thought of it, I thought of biker packs. I thought of groups of people, and so I figured what would be actually acceptable gameplay is that like if you had 3 or more, then they had enough of a power core or power reservoir that they could actually quantum together. So like they basically would link like in single file line, and just be able to shuttle, and then bam, they're done. That way, one person isn't just getting to go around freely, and at the same time, those 3 would link up. It would kind of sciencely justify. Okay, so if you have 3 more, you can actually
Science.
go.
I just want to break in here and say that this is the first time I've heard this idea from Vadron, but Vadron is one of those who's his butt's a little hurt because he wanted quantum so bad. He wanted it.
That's the Crohn's disease.
I've heard him
I
cry
promise.
about this so many times.
Well, that's the thing about it, though. It got debunked from a starter ship to a snuff fighter, and I'm like, it was the starter ship for. So what?
Yeah,
what
but it lost the vote, so they decided. I think if it
Insert
had won
Homer
the
Simpson.
starter. If it won the starter vote, it would have been bigger, and it would have had everything that it needed. It'd even have a jump drive. But since it lost, I think it shrunk down. And yeah, I'd like to have some type of quantum, or even a modified cruise where it's a little faster than other people's cruise, and maybe you could slipstream behind each other, and it may take longer, but you could at least go a little faster to get somewhere, like say from Port Olisar to Korea. But that's about the extent.
That would be really cool if the cruise was faster, because I mean, traditionally, low mass things like motocycles with their engines are a lot faster,
Right, yeah, like my sport bike, it was non-modified. It was just a basic sport bike, but I could go 190 miles an hour.
Right. And this would
Whereas a car
reminds me a lot of like, the old military bikes, like not exactly side saddle or sidecar motorcycle bikes, but like, the old World War II bikes as far as its stylings, it's just a bit with this ammo cans on the back and and everything else. Either that or like the speeders from Star Wars. It's like a cross between the two.
But we can all agree there has to be limitations. Every ship can't do everything. So I'm down.
And that's the reason why I was saying though, is like it's for some people it's pretty easy to find like 3 or 5 people. For some people it might not be so easy to find the amount of people. But I really honestly wanted it to feel like a biker gang. I wanted it to feel like a biker.
I think they've achieved that with the Caterpillar being able to deploy like 12 of them. That's amazing. Because then you have like a home.
I've never seen biker gangs with RVs much.
Oh well, have you watched Mad Max? Because all the bikers have to have their hauler for the fuel.
Yeah, our biker gangs down here in Florida are all retired folks, and they load them up in enclosed trailers, sleep in big fifth wheels, and they pull them out with their big beards and drive around like they're badasses. Then they go back to their
hiding in
RVs.
And go back to hiding in their air-conditioned RVs.
I think they made up for the lack of quantum drive by making it a ground vehicle as well, not just a space vehicle. Being able to go into ground mode was a bonus for me. I was not expecting that. So for me, yeah, I wanted the fast travel, but now that we can actually shuttle it down to the ground and get a bunch of people to meet up and do like the quote-unquote pod racing, totally makes it up because that brings in a whole new gameplay.
And about that though,
Go
I
on.
do have 2 questions in regards to that though. So if I may, the caterpillar is going to be able to hold these dragonflies. What about the Merlins and the Archimedes? Could the caterpillars hold those too? Because why wouldn't you just go ahead and go for a space fighter that could recharge its own fuel and go into Atmo and out of Atmo?
Well,
Could you
remember-
mix and
haven't
match
said that
those?
they
Could you
can't,
mix?
but,
Could you mix
If
and
it
match?
fits, yeah, if it fits, it sits. They've already said it. So
Yeah.
once the game releases, like right now, you can actually put a Merlin in a Starfarer. It's tough, but we've done it. We've actually landed it. So if it's in there and you quantum, it's in its own physics grid. So you have now a snub fighter in the Starfarer. So once they get everything working right, if it will fit, then hey, you can do it.
Sounds cool to me.
We need to do a test where we see how many Merlins we can park inside.
I could see that going badly.
Oh, just putting one in goes very badly a lot of times.
about-
So
Really?
it's fun. Yeah, you should try it. You should definitely try it. It is so much fun.
I got Merlins, trash. You got the Starfarer.
We can try that sometime, sure. So what do you guys think
Be
about
fun.
so we've got this speeder, right? So it looks kind of like the Star Wars speeder crossed with like an old World War II bike, but we don't really have any dedicated cruisers. We didn't get the power suit, EVA suit thing, or even a crotch rocket. What if do you think they'll ever make us, do they think? Well, what do you guys think about the idea of like some kind of speedy bike version?
Yes.
Probably
Every
Origin.
single manufacturer should put out a freaking bike.
Yes.
Yes.
I think a MISC bike should look like an old 50s kind of,
I think
With a
it's hollow ring.
sidecar for cargo.
yeah. And then like, can you imagine an Aegis bike or Aegis? How
It'll-
you like
it'll-
to
it'll
pronounce
have-
it?
Kawasaki Ninja.
It'll have wings.
Yes. Yeah, and it'll be-
Kawasaki Ninja with wings.
It'll be a bike in space with wings. That's how
absolutely.
I know
And
it's Aegis.
I know it's going to have a beautiful, sleek windshield up front. You're going to be able to lay down
No
on
gloss.
it instead of
Yeah.
sitting
No
up.
gloss
It's going to
black.
be so beautiful.
No gloss black on the Aegis.
Well, I
and
think.
they-
Do you guys ever watch Akira, the old school anime?
Nice. Yes,
I
I
named
do.
my dog Akira, matter of fact.
Oh, fantastic! So then the bike he rides, like that was what I thought it would look something like that. I could see Origin
Yep.
doing something like that, where
Yeah,
you, like, sit in
that
it.
reminds me of like an Origin bike for
Right,
sure.
right.
And then
I
the
bet.
bikes on Robotech, I can see as more of an RSI bike.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
What about an Anvil, like a RoboCop bike?
Security.
With all the
Yes.
curved
Security
metal.
profit.
There you go.
Yeah, and they even mentioned it. I think it was ATV or something that they are planning in the future for other manufacturers of bikes, and I think they're going to see how popular. They hit $1 million off of this sell. And now,
That's
granted,
just
some of that is
batshit.
Caterpillars.
I was
but-
about to say.
Yeah, I know, and it's only been like 2 days into the sale. Come on, it's
Right.
gonna be.
I would like
nuts.
them to release
Finally went
how
up.
many bikes they sold, because everybody that plays, when you get a sub $40 ship,
Oh yeah. It
I
is
was hoping
on
it was
my
going to be more
donkey fucking
$25 ish, but 35
Yeah,
is still
I'm
good
still a little
because
weird
it's
about the price.
well. Remember, 2-seater.
Yeah.
That I think to me changes it a tad because you can throw your buddy on the back. It does have a few guns, granted no quantum, but there again it is ground transportation too. The first bike or first vehicle we've had that's made to store in a ship as small as a freelancer. So
Yeah.
I mean, you for a guy like me, as soon as I heard that, I was like, I'm done. I'm getting. Well, I bought
Right,
6,
right.
but
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
besides the point.
It was like one for me and 5 other friends.
Yeah, well, I'm doing
Actually,
a lot of
10.
giveaways. I'm buying Miss GHG one because she wants to be able to race it. I bought myself the 2-pack, and then of course I bought a lot for giveaways. So
Nice.
I'll probably buy some more too. I'm not gonna lie, but when they put those color swatches up, my wife was like, "Oh, I want pink." So I gotta work on that.
I know, those are so pretty. I
Yes.
like the candy apple red, the black, of course, and then the second one from the bottom
Pirate
had
ship.
a kind of a nice military look to it. I like that one.
Yeah, it's gonna be great when they bring the skins in. I think that'll be one of the easier ones for them to do the skins because have y'all ever played with the Aurora skins?
Oh yes,
I have.
all of them,
Yeah. So I mean, they work great. So
and the gray cats have all those skins too.
yep.
Although
I think
I feel like the new when they did the big overhaul to the hangar lighting, something went wrong because the skins don't they don't look good anymore.
Yeah.
So they'll
they
need to
quit
get
working
fixed.
on them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they look at it that way where it's not important right now. We know it works, so they'll work on them later. And you're right, these skins look like crap in the hangar now, but like putting a pirate skin on the Aurora and flying it around is so awesome.
It makes me so happy.
So apparently they're working on the F7A overhaul. It looks more military-esque,
If
kind
that's
of heroic.
possible.
Well, it's nothing but guns and teeth on the Super Hornet, so I wonder how this is going to look.
Yeah.
I think they said they're going to make it much more aerodynamic, because to me, I've always said this. To me, the Hornet looks dated.
It does.
Even though
It's
we're in the
supposed to,
future,
though.
it just looks dated. Yeah. So that one's going to have, it's going to lean more towards the futuristic side. So I think it's awesome. We're going to have the older looking Hornets, and then we're going to have like the newer models. And I hope they do that a lot throughout the game, giving us like newer models. And you get to see like, oh, look, there's an old 2945 Freelancer. Here's the new 24.
I don't know, man. That's both really cool and also kind of scary because if you're a collector, I'm like, oh god, my pop.
You know what's funny is I'll be collecting all the old ships.
Yeah, likewise. And I'm hoping that they actually keep some of those old models that didn't quite work, like the Freelancer had a prototype, and they drop in the old model in a museum just for it to be around.
Or how about once the game's released, go back to the original Freelancer and make it work, and have it where every once in a while you can go to a dealership. It is something
Find
you
the
really got to
antique.
go and hunt. Hell, look, they got a 2943 Freelancer, but they only have one, and it's not going to get restocked for like another 2 months. So you have to find that dealership and get there.
An antique Cutlass, like I know they're going to do a rehaul on the Cutlass, and like I really want some of these assets that they've used before to be reused again. So that's what I'm looking at.
Do you guys remember the Cutlass in the hangar before the Cutlass model ever made it into the game at all? They had a Cutlass on a stand that was about as big as your character. I want that piece of hangar flare. I want it back.
Wow.
Whatever happened to that?
Don't
I
know.
know, right?
I haven't thought about that since our old hangars. That's weird.
See, the old hangars that I had, the only thing I had was a gun. So I was sitting there just shooting it up, constantly blowing away the target
Why are you
dummies.
sitting at 0?
Hey, where's our gun stand in our shooting range we were supposed to get?
I remember that.
It'll come.
And if you had a gray cat,
What's going wrong with mine?
if you had a gray cat, it had like little jumps and everything.
Yep.
I'm
And
just
I
saying,
know
if they
the
don't
root system-
implement they don't implement the pillow fluffing mechanic, I'm gonna quit. I'm just saying.
Oh,
They
dear
have,
Lord.
They have until Tuesday.
I'm selling all my ships. Fuck it. I meant screw it. Sorry.
So what-
You're fine.
Yeah, we
shit.
cuss like sailors around here and soldiers.
Really?
Sorry.
I try
Trust.
not to, but I've had
I
a few.
just
I've had
don't
a few.
hold back.
I've had a few episodes.
Right on. That's two things I'm really looking forward to right now is
Cussing?
multiplayer. Yeah, cussing in game. No.
Gotcha.
Multiplayer hangars and the room system. I would like them. You know what? They could make money if they say, okay, guys, if you'd like to buy, say, a trophy room and it has just cool lighting and a lot of shelves and stuff, and it costs say $5. Dude, I would buy all the rooms.
$5,000, $5,000, your own space station, and your own instance.
Oh
They
my
would
God.
make
Does the
kill.
Does the room come with LTI?
Yeah, I can already see the discussions. Oh my God.
Oh, that would be well. That's the thing about it. Honestly, it's a defendable platform. Like maybe for like the one without LTI, you'd pay like $1,000, but it would be really hard to take in the first place. So like so the people the little orgs that could barely scrape together the $1,000 could like pinch in to get one. But like the one with the LTI is fine. They could really milk that if they wanted to. But I'm
Right.
Okay,
Well,
CIG, do not listen to this episode. Hush, go away.
Well, I don't think that they're. They've always said that
ugly,
they're not
but
going
I
to try
guess
to
it works.
develop the economy in such a way that it's milking the community.
is going
I know
on
that
with
some
this,
people
though? Like,
feel like they
this
get
is the
milked.
first
That's
episode
because
of this
well, that's
particular
because people feel
bug,
like
so
they
I
have
don't
to
know
buy
if
every
it's a
ship,
bug
and
or
if
it's
you don't
from
price a ship in their
Right.
in their price bracket, they're
Maybe-
offended.
maybe my,
It's like, well, no, not every
Right.
ship is
maybe my-
meant.
my thing is
Like,
just
I'm
calibrated
sorry,
and recalibrated.
spending
Yeah,
$200 or $360 or whatever it was for the for the Blade was absolutely
ran- was
atrocious.
zero
But
on
that's because
stepping
it's a
on the
luxury
gas,
ship,
nothing's
guys.
happening.
Like it was, unless you're buying it because you're like, haha, oh, tough titty. That's just what it is.
Right. Pay $45 and move on.
Just
Wait for the game to
right.
release
I
and
get
buy
paid for
every
that?
single thing in game with in-game money.
No.
See, the Caterpillar to
get paid
me
for
is
that?
the ultimate actual guild groom, guild hall, whatever you would want to anyway, because the modularity. I mean, if you can afford it, 890 jump,
In
sure,
order
yeah,
to
go for that. But
defend,
I mean,
like you have
for
to
just the
kill
small
people
groups and everything, and I think that's the reason why they've
basically
seen $1 million
inside of the car, when
Yeah.
they're
in
trying
that.
to
I was thinking of that too.
FPS.
It's like there's just
The Caterpillar's ugly as sin, but
I know, and I love that. Don't
It's
Me
the
too.
it's the least back when they ran a poll a long time ago on the RSI forums where like who had bought which ships.
Yeah.
Like, not counting the ships that were number limited, like the Scythe or the Idris. The Caterpillar
yeah.
of all the publicly normally released ships was the least popular ship, and so it's always been one of my favorites because of that. Man, because it's asymmetrical, but
Yes.
a big part of that is the fact that this ship is all purpose. It has the nicest doors for cargo opening on the side. It is the most functionally like it can do anything pretty much.
Yep. And for the price right now, it is one of the best ships I think that you can buy right now for multi-crew.
Absolutely.
yes. I mean,
It's huge. People don't realize it. The 60 meters or 63 meters that's on the webpage, it's doubled almost.
yes,
Oh, yeah.
it has gotten very, very. I was watching an old video by Teller, I believe, actually, and it actually has the guys in the Caterpillar really up in the front, and like they're tiny. The Caterpillar ship is tiny in that episode, and then I go and I check out the white boxing, and it's just like these huge storage rooms filled with with potential loot, potential hospital bay, an armory. Obviously, the cargo bay doubles as a carrier, so you can have a few dragonflies just go in and out and back and forth. I mean, I think that there's one missing, and I don't know what it is. It's like they said armory before. They've said the medical. I know they've said that one.
There's the
salvage,
the meat launcher where you launch living meat out of the
Bacon.
forward compartment.
Are we shooting Vandal now?
Boarding action on.
I thought we were shooting at Vandal, not shooting. No. Well, that actually, that's so funny that you say that. That's what I was actually thinking of for the Dragonfly, was like a torpedo-based quantum drive that actually slicks up and locks you into place before you go into quantum, but it actually fires out of a turret of a gun like it was some sort of ejection seat.
Could have said you said launches out of a turd of a gun.
That works too. Turret of a gun. Turret.
Cannon.
Wow. What do you do all day hustling meat?
Meat hustler. That's my role. In my 890 jump.
All right. So what about the new clothing coming up? I understand they got Frontier clothing. What's that going to be like?
Sexy.
Firefly is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'm thinking overalls.
Space overalls, as long
Big
as they
brown
come in yellow.
coats.
Yeah, like what is that? What is that? Carhartt overalls in space?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a more dirty utopia kind of
Yeah.
Firefly Serenity kind of deal. I like the clothing line now, but I look like a prep.
Do you have
Oh
the?
yeah.
Do
The
you
first
have
thing I ever
the-
do is take off the stupid ball
Welcome
cap.
to the real pirate who
Do
just
you have the
enjoyed it.
environment? Do you have the environmental coat?
Yes, sir. My brown coat, you mean?
I'm just
Yeah, that one.
You
Whatever.
Yes, I do.
You dare question his brown coat having? How dare you, good sir? How dare you?
I have
That's
multiple.
because I wanted to know. I wanted to compare. I've got one myself.
Yes, absolutely. Matter of fact, when they brought it out, I know what they were going for,
Oh, yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
scooped it right up.
Yes.
My play style is Han Solo / Captain Mao.
Oh,
I love
yeah.
those two characters. I
Yep.
think they're the best sci-fi characters ever
I was
made,
fighting this guy,
and I
I'm-
want to
this is the third time
act
I've
like
had this
Mao and do
weird
the job of
inconsistent bug where
Han Solo.
Right,
I don't know if it's a bug or I don't
So
know.
what about
Oh,
the
man, it's
2.5?
gonna be awesome.
Controls have got.
What do you guys think it's 2.5 is going to bring out?
All of a sudden, I'll break to zero.
That's
I
tough,
don't know.
man.
They,
Stepping on the gas, doing that
we
will
keep
not
getting
do anything towards
hints
No.
and whispers that it might be something like
in the middle of this
the
hot
Caterpillar
dogfight with
or
this,
the or the
bigger, more armed,
the
more heavily armed. And armed
So
ship.
maybe they just don't know.
And
Do you think that they know?
I can
and my
give
ship
you
just
some insight.
freezes up.
It is
And,
not
like,
feature
so I
locked.
end up losing like 3 of my 4
Okay, so there's that.
weapons, and,
But something I can almost guarantee
it just,
is a
like,
flyable
almost
Reliant.
lost the other one. Yeah.
New clothing, of
I
course.
guess.
I'm hoping that other than that,
I guess
improvements,
two
of course, in
weapons.
netcode stability, crap like that. But I would love to see that pirate
Yes.
base in
Oh my god.
I
universe.
got one for you.
Well, you know, the thing with that is, though,
I wanna see
is
boobs.
originally...
Yes.
Boobs. Sorry.
Well, they
Just had to put it out there.
Yes,
Kill
yes.
for profit.
Well, I mean, they had talked
I'm not-
about the female model going into engine, but I don't know if it'll be out this time. But that would be amazing if they had actually got all those animations set up. So
Boobs.
I'm gonna get some
Yeah, the
FPS
problem
on.
was the
You
picture
said
she was
animation.
showing us was in a 3D modeling program, not actually CryEngine. They have mentioned that it's going in, but to hook all the bones up and hook all the animations up and get all the clothing ready and stuff, they may have to take another iteration or two to get that in. I'm hoping to, though. I really do want the female model in quick.
yes, and not only that, but they'll have to make sure that there's content, i.e., the clothing and all that stuff's hooked up to it. So it'll be a fair bit of work. I don't know that I expect it in 2.5. That would be fantastic.
We're not gonna have Taki and Soul Calibur type animations, are we? You follow what I'm saying there?
Uh-huh.
Beachfront volleyball.
Yeah,
There's
I'm
no
hoping they
escape.
keep more of
half
the
FPS.
Tight.
well, kind of like the Cutlass commercial, where she's cutesy, girly, but rugged and
Yeah.
badass.
I could definitely go with that because you know Zero-G,
weapons.
you know, and yeah, that's just no.
Well, they've already said Zero-G-iggle is not in that mechanic, so they're still working on that.
Would that be Zero-G-iggle?
Yes, new term. Lock it down.
Zero-G-iggle.
Z-
Confirmed.
Ziggle.
That's the title of this show. It's gonna be called Zero-G-iggle with a G.
Yeah,
There
I
you
can already
go.
see the female players going, "Oh God, all this ziggle is killing me."
Yeah, really. Like totally.
Yeah, I know.
I agree. Somebody needs to say YOLO so
Have some
that
heavy
lens up.
weapon fire.
So I'm excited about the Reliant being flyable, though. I think that's gonna be a fun
Me
ship.
too.
I was really
I
blown away
can't
with its
wait.
model. It looked really good. I was really.
Have you
see
went to
big
the third
target.
person? Well, yeah, but
I
I
can
mean,
get some personnel kills.
I see something that looks really fun to shoot at. I'm sorry.
you know what? Though?
smaller
It's
than
wide,
than
but it's thin. So it depends on how you're oriented towards your attacking ship. I can actually become a pretty small target when I'm coming straight at, like a knife edge.
Yeah, but I mean, heaven forbid you turn.
Well, true.
Well, I mean, it's like that with every ship, though. You're always going to try to keep your narrowest profile towards your opponent. But you know,
Yeah,
I was a little worried that it was going to be really large. But honestly, like seeing it in hangar, it's smaller than I was worried about. You know, so I mean.
Yeah, it's just wide, man. Really
yeah,
wide.
Yeah.
Now, have you taken the third-person camera and actually went into the ship, like the wings and stuff, and
Oh,
looked at the assets
internal
on the
geometry.
inside?
I have not. I will do
Oh,
that.
you've got to do that, man. It is crazy how much detail they put inside
Yes, they do.
cabling and wiring and stuff. It's
And-
amazing.
And it's the same way in the Vanguard. I know that I can actually see through some of the geometry there, and you can actually see the heat pipes. They actually have the pipes in place, so if that part of the ship gets destroyed, you can actually see how the radiator is going to fail. You can see
Right.
how, and
Quick-
so that was fascinating to me. Sorry.
Quick technical interjection. So I changed over the background scenes in OBS, like, I don't know, 20 minutes ago. And because I had changed the directory name before, I had to relink the video, etc., yada, yada, which was pretty quick, took like 5 seconds. But what I didn't realize is that it brought the background video volume back up to full, where normally I keep it muted. So I'm hoping that in our recording for the last 20 minutes, it doesn't have like the pew 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 of dogfighting over our conversation.
Let's go ahead. Well, all right. We have covered a lot of material. Is there anything in here that you guys want to hit on real fast?
That's true. We've this is good. This is a long show, so like Gray, you know, we could talk all day, and there are a million bullet points to talk about. So, how are you doing on time, good sir?
I have about 15 minutes, and I need to start getting ready for work and stuff like
Okay,
that. So
yeah, no worries. That sounds great. Let's scan through, pick a couple of points you guys want to talk the most about, and then we'll roll out. Like,
Hit
let's say
me.
we've got like, okay. So here, I'll just ask him, and then we'll just yes or no. No mention of
Lightning
Nix.
round.
Quick and dirty.
Yeah, quick. No mention of Nix in a while. Think we'll see Nix and Crusader for testing or outlaw Olisar?
No, Outlaw Olisar for sure, because I think we're going to need a jump point for Nyx.
Yep. Well, they had talked to a lot. They had originally said that they might temporarily put it in this system just for sandboxing, even though that's completely not accurate. But right, the last I heard, they were doing a reskin of Olisar and a re-layout of it and going to use that, which is both good and bad. I think it's good because it means we'll see it sooner. And I mean, I really want to see Nyx, but at least that means that Nyx is probably so awesome that they're holding out on it.
Yes, for maybe even Gamescom.
Right.
I'm kind of thinking.
All right, next one. Reliant, flight ready. Next, Little Savage cargo version first, since we still need a cargo system.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, that was more of a statement, I guess, because we already talked about Reliant. All right, Caterpillar having all art hands on deck. Pretty excited to see another big ship. I think we all are. Let's see, Caterpillar sneak peek along with the Dragonfly. Tons excited. Hangar in 2.5. Do we think we'll see it?
Possible. I think that might still be a long shot because
Yeah.
there's so much work that goes into that. Possibly hangar ready, but they're not going to want to make it hangar ready unless you can walk through it. So they're going to have to have the entire interior done.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is I think they're working on the interiors. So
Yes.
it sounded to me like the Caterpillar was be hangar ready before the oh my god, how am I forgetting it? The Drake Herald. Because the Herald was slated for more towards the end of the year. But then I was reading on like Reddit and somebody was like, oh, we'll probably see the Herald first, so that way the Dragonfly and the Caterpillar can go hangar at the same time. I don't know if I believe that, even with the Dragonfly on the fast track. We'll see. Let's see. Okay, so 14 PTU builds came out last month, and for every 10 builds, well, basically there were like 10 builds created for every one that saw the PTU. So that means for this live release, there were like over 140 unique builds in the month. So that's not so much of a question as it is that is badass.
It's amazing, man.
CIG, if you're listening, you guys are on the cocaines. I'm just saying, space cocaines. Good for you.
It's amazing amount of work to get that persistence working. I talked to a lot of the QA guys, and they were just like, a lot of people don't understand the rework on the back end was amazingly huge. So with 2.5, it should be a much quicker to release because persistence is in.
Right. 2.4 was akin to 2.0. It was crazy. And and even like I played in the PTU. I wasn't a part of the very first wave Evocati guys, but I did play from every wave after that, and it was. The bugs were there were a lot of them, and it took a lot of testing. It was pretty amazing, and all the complainers can suck it, because get in there and test, bitches.
Yep, and people don't understand too. I was in the first wave of testing, and it sucked. It was horrible. You were basically seriously bug testing. There was no playing. There wasn't really having that much fun. So don't be mad that it took so long. Be happy, because even though it's buggy right now, it's not nowhere near as buggy as it was.
Right. All right. So one of the big things that I saw in the monthly report that blew me away was they were talking a little bit more detailed about like work on power plants, coolers, shields, the 2.0 system for that finally getting ready to come in, and how that tied to the emission systems. So we'll actually start seeing game playable emissions, because like right now, like you can have a low IR or whatever that might make missiles miss you a little bit more, but there's no real gameplay as far as like stealthing your ship or parking next to an asteroid so you don't get picked up on a cross section radar or whatever. Right. So if that stuff comes into game, that is going to be, oh my god.
Yeah, because in Yella, I want to swing around an asteroid and shut all my systems down. I want to have a hotkey.
Right.
Shut everything down and go invisible.
Yeah, you want to be able to go dark. You want to be able to be next to something and not be able to be picked out by something that's far away, so that you can see them but they can't see you. Just like in real life, if you peek around a corner at somebody who's 50 yards away, they're not going to see you, but you're going to see them. Right now, we can't do that. So if they can see you, or if you can see them, they can see you. So it's not granular gameplay detail enough.
Right.
Exciting.
And it's coming.
Yes.
Getting close, guys.
It's coming. All right, so Shubin. Shubin is near gray box complete. Oh, and apparently one other secret location. So that's why I was like, maybe that's Nyx, or maybe that's Procedural Planet. Thoughts?
Possibly.
Next.
It's so hard to say because I guarantee they're going to surprise us. We don't. They only talk about a very limited amount of things they do,
Right.
and they're going to release something, and we're going to be like, "Are you kidding me? Or what?"
Well, yeah. The procedural stuff has unlocked so much potential. It's going to be amazing. So the Idris interior is done, quote unquote. Team is now working on the Squadron 42 internal variations of the Idris. Holy shit. My pants.
Dear Lord.
It's getting close, man.
All right, Vadron, read some.
I'm going to go ahead and just skip skip a few because our guest does
We're almost
have
at the
only
end. There's like 4 more lines.
Fine. We'll go ahead and ask them all together.
Do
Jav and Bengal seeing progress thanks to the interchangeable bits.
Bits.
Yes, and that's the whole thing. Modularity. They need to have interchangeable pieces so they can get through stuff quicker.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
So-
there's always a challenge there, is because then you run into the complaints of like the Vanguard, though. It reuses assets from like the Retaliator, and then people really pretty sore about the overall change in the aggressive look of the Vanguard.
Yeah, but you got to think of real life. Look how many
Yeah.
card companies use the same chassis for every single car, and you just throw
Right.
some different fenders on it, and you're good
Right.
to go.
Right.
So there's hints of a new Aegis ship actually being in the works, and where do you think it's going to fit in the roster of current?
Oh my God, I don't even know, man. They have such an amazing design mind over there. I can't even begin to fathom. I'd have no clue.
I feel like it'll have to be a little bit bigger, because I mean you got the bomber, you've got the you've got the Sabers, a heavy fighter, you got the light fighter in the Gladius. I mean either it would have to go smaller and be like M50 like racing size, but they're a military company, so I don't know, man.
I'm thinking a niche underneath the Vanguard.
Maybe.
Yeah, and we have so many small ships. I think they're going to focus on even like the Polaris. They're going to focus on the bigger ships for now because we have a crap ton of small ships.
Right. They're going to surprise. They're going to surprise us with a RSI / Aegis dual release. 2 Corvettes go into the verse at once.
All right. We have got about 6 minutes left.
All right,
and
roll
ahead
through.
and get through. I'm going to go ahead and roll through those. Okay, we always do 5 rapid fire questions, and they're generally generic questions, but they're something that basically we all can relate to. So the first question, Gray, is what kind of flight controls do you use?
A Warthog from Thrustmaster.
Nice. Do you use pedals too?
I do not. I have a thumb toggle for my roll.
Nice.
All right. A favorite flyable ship and loadout?
Favorite flyable ship is my Freelancer. I like the slow movement of it, and I love it with Panthers and Bulldogs.
No kidding. Nice.
Most anticipated game mechanic?
Cargo hauling.
Ship combat, close and personal, hit 'em at range, or some variant strategy?
I am a horrible dogfighter, so I tried to run and let my friends kill him.
Gotcha. Stranded.
Yeah.
Hey, some variant strategy. Stranded at a station and someone parks their single seater ship. We've got to fix that alliteration. Leave them to it. Calm for an Uber, or just murk them and take it.
I am entirely too nice in the verse. I apologize when I shoot someone at the FPS station, so I rarely steal ships. It sucks, man. I find them after the game and apologize.
Dude, quick interview. Hang on.
Hurry.
Okay, never mind. Fine. I get what you're talking about. There was a funny story about being nice and killing somebody and then feeling immediate guilt. No, carry on. Shut up.
They've done that before, actually. All right, so we got at the 30 mark. I'm going to go ahead and ask this question. You got 30 seconds to answer this. This is a trivia round. If you win it, you get a $5 credit should you want it. If you do not want it, you can defer it to somebody else, or you can just be generous and not charge me $5 to my account if you should get it right. And the question is, starting now, who played Howard Saint in the very popular comic movie that Chris Roberts produced?
I hope you're keeping a timer because I'm not.
Oh my god.
I am.
I forget his name. I will not win this.
Okay. Well, do you concede?
I concede.
Being as that we do not actually have a live audience, I'll go ahead and say it was John Travolta, Howard Saint of The Punisher.
Oh.
Damn
Huh.
it.
There you
I
go.
was
I
totally
would have
thinking
never
of a
guessed.
different guy. Yeah, I was thinking of a totally different guy anyway, so I would have got it wrong if I had guessed anyway.
I didn't go for the main character. I went for the bad guy. So that way it kind of threw people. But my girlfriend wants to say something.
Say
I have
something.
no idea why. Here you go.
Did you say the answer already?
I said the answer.
Oh, okay. I know.
I'm glad.
Nice.
Favorite movies. All right.
Very nice.
And last minute bit of fun before we close the night. We've already got the trivia question out of the way. And so, wow, you've really changed this bottom script here. Thanks, Trez.
Do your homework. All right, so excellent play, Gray-Headed Gamer. It's been great having you on with us here at Station 42. We hope you had a blast with us this morning, not tonight.
Yeah, and thank you so much for having me on. And thanks for rearranging the schedule to get me on, guys, because
Oh, no
my work
problem.
schedule sucks.
Yeah, no, it sounds like you work a lot. You know, the interesting thing is too is we are always open to shifting our time to record with our guests as much as possible. It's just while we had when there were three, four of us doing this, like our times were so narrow that we only had a few different blocks of time when we could do that. But we're a little more flexible now, so I'm glad that we could accommodate.
Me too.
Right on.
All right. I believe our guest needs to get out of here. I have had a wonderful show. Trask, I think, has a wonderful show. He's certainly been excited the entire time.
Yeah,
I gotta neg him. Like I said, I'm Traz's foil. So
All right. Well, shout out to our audience. Thank you for spending your listening time with Station 42. If you have any comments or requests, definitely get us in our comments. YouTube, Facebook, Homing Pigeon, all of the above.
we're not using the bats anymore. Okay, sorry. Yes, we would like to hear from you, and if you haven't already, please give us a like and subscribe, or just at least tell other people about us so that maybe they'll like and subscribe. I'm not picky. It's what keeps us motivated. Thank you, everyone. We will see you next week.
Later.
Trask?
All right. Engaging that full Monty Warp core. Everyone grab onto something, because I think I might play some music or something.
Figured your pants would weigh you down. You'll be fine.
All right. I'll see you later. Here we go.
Yum, yum, yum.